Greeting campers. I hope you're in for a scare tonight. Tonight, we have a special ice pop for you. Tonight's tale is about a group of friends who call themselves the Thrill Club. What's going to happen when they go to a haunted house? Get ready because the story is about to start.
Not everyone wants to join the Boy Scouts. Once a popular group, the Scouts' membership had declined over the years. Maybe their caramel kettle popcorn doesn't have the same height like the Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies. Carl was struggling to keep his eyelids open. The Boy Scouts informational session was dragging. It was time for the Strawberry Springs chapter to recruit new members. His mouth still tasted like the turkey sub he had for lunch. Carl was parched and needed some water. He excused himself and went looking for a water fountain. The hallway smelled like floor cleaner, and there was a lemon-colored wet floor sign playing the role of hall monitor, but no one is going to listen to the sign. Carl ran out to the water fountain and almost slipped in the water. He felt a surge of coolness enter his body when he pressed the fountain's trigger and the water shot out. On this way back to the meeting, he saw a group of students he noticed from school. The group consisted of kids he knew by association. As he walked by, he waved at them and they just stared at him, so he continued walking.
Hey, where are you going?
Carl turned around. Back to this Boy Scout meeting? I don't even know why I'm going back.
Don't join that dumb club. Let us recruit you for ours.
What club are you guys in?
We're in the Thrill Club.
The Thrill Club?
Yes, the Thrill Club.
How do I join?
Well, it's simple. This week is our initiation week. You have to tell scary stories, and this Friday, since it's Fright Night Friday, you have to do something to prove you aren't afraid of anything.
Carl thought about how silly the kid he was talking to sounded, but this club was more exciting than the Scouts. What's your names, by the way?
I'm Mike, the leader, and this is Joey and Erwin.
The two others didn't speak, they just nodded. Cool, so when do I start telling scary stories to you guys?
Tonight, meet us in that graveyard across from the church at midnight. Do not be late.
The thought of sneaking out sent shock waves through Carl's heart. How was he going to sneak past his parents and younger sister? Well, one thing is for sure. Carl did succeed in sneaking out every night since he joined the club. The Thrill Club was impressed by Carl's storytelling skills. Carl was a natural, and this is due to the fact he enjoys listening to scary story podcasts, especially Camp Chiller. The Thrill Club considered the day before Friday Terror Thursdays. On Terror Thursdays, one person in the group tells a true, scary story. Since this is your first time at Terror Thursdays, Carl, you do not have to tell one, but do your research for next week, Mike stated.
I'll tell a story.
Erwin began.
This story is called The House on Terror Road. Terror Road is known as Terror Road in the small town of Strawberry Springs, New Jersey. Everyone calls it Terror Road because of the strange events that occur down this road. You see, there was this one incident that happened over 100 years ago at the Wilsons' house. The Wilsons were a wealthy family amongst the other citizens in the town. That's because Mr. Wilson was a funeral home director and a milk delivery driver. But that wasn't the only reason why people knew him in the town. They also knew him because he was known for his famous cough. He coughed so much people thought his lungs were made out of snow. He made the majority of his money from the deaths in the town. It was not normal, though, for that many people to die in a short amount of time. The town began to get suspicious of Mr. Wilson because of the deaths that took place. They say that the deaths took place after his morning routine. The town started spying on Mr. Wilson and discovered he was poisoning the milk. When they told his wife and daughter, his family ran away. They left him all alone. Mr. Wilson was eventually confronted by a mob. He had no choice but to drink a bad batch of milk. His house was abandoned and boarded up. Legend has it that his ghost haunts the house. 2 years later, a group of teens snuck in the abandoned house to see if they can find his ghost. When they heard a cough as they were walking around, they all tried to run out, but they couldn't find a way out at all. When they were eventually found, they all had milk mustaches on their face and were dead.
When Irwin was done telling his story, the rest of the Thrill Club gave him a standing ovation. Carl heard about Terrell Road in a small town, but would never dare go down it. The next night, Carl met the Thrill Club at the graveyard.
All right, Carl, you've done a great job this week. Now this is your final test of courage. You have to walk around the Wilson's house tonight on Terrell Road.
Joey jumped in. Joey barely even told a story this week, but he was very supportive of Carl in this initiation process. Carl swallowed his spit and thought about leaving, but he came too far now to dip.
You'll be fine, bro. Don't worry.
Irwin smiled at him while giving him encouraging words. It wasn't fair to walk to Terrell Road since it was a few minutes away from the graveyard.
This is it.
Now, all I have to do is walk up to the top floor and wait until you calm me down?
Correct. Here's the flashlight. Flash the flashlight 3 times once you get to the top floor so we know you're there.
The Thrill Club all gave Carl high fives as he began to walk into the abandoned house. The house hasn't been occupied in decades. The windows had cardboard on them. The grass was taller than the giraffe in the mist of fog surrounded by the house. Was the fog always there, or was it because of conflicting temperatures outside? Carl moved towards the front door as he heard the steps whisper under his feet. He kicked the door open and went inside. Mike walked over to Irwin and Joey and began talking to them.
So I texted Ricky and he said he'll be here tonight to scare Carl. He's going to make coughing sounds as Carl was walking around. Perfect. Carl was in for a thrill.
Meanwhile, Carl was in the house and noticed how cold it was. Carl jumped up. Goosebumps popped out of his arms like a whack-a-mole. He rubbed his arm to make them go away, but they stayed. Carl turned around to see where the coughing was coming from, but the house was dark and he could barely see. He went upstairs and saw his new friend standing outside from a window. He pulled his flashlight out, getting ready to use it. The Thrill Club were downstairs, waiting for the flashlight when they heard.
What's up, guys?
They turned around and it was Ricky.
Sorry I'm late, bros. Had to finish doing the dishes. Should I go into the house and hide now? What's wrong with you? Carl's inside the house right now. We're waiting for him to flash the flashlight. You ruined it. He probably knows this is a prank now.
When no flashing light was seen, they all decided to go in and look for him. The house was chilly.
Carl, are you here, buddy? Ricky, this is not the time to play. It wasn't me. I didn't class. Guys, I'm freaking out and I'm scared. Carl!
There was no answer. The Thrill Club, including Ricky, went upstairs to look for Carl. As they continued, they heard more coughing.
Look, that window is open.
They went inside and saw Carl laying on the floor. Under him was a pool of milk.
Guys, I think we should get...
Before he could finish his sentence, the Thrill Club heard coughing.